Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday, everybody. My name is Leigh Bella Ralston. I'm also known as Mommy Leigh on the internet. Welcome to another fun class here with Michael Stores and Faber-Castell USA. I am super excited. I have in front of me is my bounce lettering kit that I have designed for the fabulous Faber-Castell USA. We have covered this kit in our previous classes that you can find on Michael's YouTube channel. We did the basic of bounce lettering, so basic of brush lettering, really. So in this kit, you will get 3 Goldfaber Aqua markers. You get a worksheet. Actually, it's a workbook. So you get this workbook included in this kit with some samples, projects, sample letters, words, and all that. And then you also get 2 sticker sheets in this kit. This is coming at your local Michael store very soon. Online, both online and some stores as well. Okay. And so if you need some help with some basic brush lettering, we did a lot of classes that you can find on Michael's YouTube. And as I'm doing the class today, if you have any questions at any point, you can use the chat section, and I will do my hardest to answer you as soon as I can. So, all right. Um, you might not have the same materials that I'm using today, and it's okay. If you have a brush pen, in this class, I will be demonstrating and using some brush pens from Faber-Castell. These are the pens that you will find. Actually, there's 3. I believe. There we go. So these are the brush pens that you will find in the bounce lettering kit. But if you have any other brush pens from other brands, that will work as well. I've also pulled out some of the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens. In the month of September, I do believe that we have a class that talks about all about brush pens. So I will share with you different brush pens that Faber-Castell USA has to offer, and I will show you what are the difference from each of the pen. And I think that really does help a lot, especially if you're just getting started when it comes to the brush lettering. I think it's important to find that perfect tool because brush pens are fabulous tool, but they can also be tricky to use. Trust me. So I've spent many years just trying to get comfortable. So I think choosing a size, it really does matter what type of ink you're using, what you're looking for. But, at the same time, I think everything is personal preference. So I think it's important to see kind of like what are your options. And then, so that's coming up. So that's happening this month of September. All right. So, Faber-Castell also generously provided us with some worksheet. If you have printed it, it's perfect. But if you don't have it, it's okay. If you have an extra copy paper, I love to use this marker pad. Personally, it's my favorite. This is the Strathmore. This is the 500 series. Let's see. So marker paper. This one, it's not an solid paper. This one is almost like um it is almost like a tracing paper. It's very thin. So we're going to see here. So this one, as you can see, it's semi-translucent, but if you have it against a white copy paper per se, it's really white. But the reason why I love it is because, let me adjust my settings first. This is too bright. There we go. So the reason why I love it is because the paper is very smooth. And, when it comes to brush pens, I think that is one important thing to put into consideration is choosing good paper because it depends on the brush pen that you're using also, but most of my favorite brush pens are felt tip. So if you're going to use a surface that is rough and rough on your pen, you're going to damage your brush pen pretty easily. And if you're someone like me that writes really heavy, I mean, it can get damaged very fast. Okay, so I want to say hello to everyone. Oh, I have a lot of neighbors here from Texas. Hello, hello, everybody. It is toasty. It is so hot. So I hope you're staying hydrated and you're staying cool. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Oh, it's okay, Shelly. Hello. A lot of my friends are here. Yeah, we have to, you guys have to connect with me because I do have an upcoming event in Austin next month, September 15th to 17th. So would love to see you there. All right. So now we've tackled everything, markers, papers. I think we're all set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a piece of my marker pad here. All right. So when it comes to brush pens, there are two things that really is very, very important. And I know that a lot of my friends are here. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? The two major strokes that we have to keep in mind. We have a thin stroke. I always like to start it here. I know even if this is not your first time attending, but I think it's important to kind of like have a review of what matters most. So we get, let me see, change that view. So you can see that when I'm doing a upstroke, see how I'm using just the tip of the marker? So, and this is upstroke is when you are going to apply very, very light pressure, right? So you're using the tip of the marker and applying very light pressure to create your upstroke. So upstroke is also when you create thin lines. And did I mention that the Goldfaber Dual marker comes with two tips? So you get a 0.6 on the other end and you get a brush pen on the other, right? So upstroke is thin lines created by applying very light pressure. All right, next we have downstroke, or this is your thick and your heavy. So the way you're going to apply it would be the reverse. You're going to use the tip and also the belly or the body of your brush pen. So this is when you're dragging to create a thick stroke. Let's do that again. And notice also how I'm holding my pen, how I'm handling it. It's not pointed this way, because when it's pointed this way, I am able to use the thin or the tip of the marker. But when I'm holding it this way, it gets slanted, almost 45-degree angled. And also this part of my hand, of my wrist, is well situated on my desk. It has a good firm here planted, so I get a good control over my pen. And then I'm able to apply some pressure to create a thick stroke. All right. And so now how do we do a thin and thick? So let's do this. Perfect stroke to practice would be an overstroke. See how I started with the tip of my pen first? And then I switched. And if you need to pause there, but also that's not a good practice, but in the very beginning, if you're still just beginning to learn how to use your brush pen, if you need to pause almost where the hump or where you're going to change from the thin and the thick, you can pause over there and then switch the way you hold your marker. I'm going to switch my view so you can see. So notice how it's upside down like this to create a thin, not too much though, not like how when you're writing. So not super tilted, but not almost 45. So you're there. So tilt a little bit to use the tip and then go sideways like this to use the body or the belly of your marker. All right. I think Nicole will be able to help us with the worksheet link. All right, let's try that again. So tip, belly. So notice that I'm going to go do the close up so you guys can see tip of the marker and then belly. And now let's do the opposite. This is where I think I'm having a hard time when I'm doing the hard pressure to light pressure. The switch there is what I find most difficult. Okay, the switch from the hard to light. I think from the light to heavy feels more natural, but when I do the heavy to light, it's a bit more of an effort for me. So let's try that. Heavy pressure and to go light. See? did you did you see the struggle? I wasn't kidding, wasn't I? All right, let's try that again. So heavy to light. And I think it's important to do these drills because what happens is that you're actually building a um, you're building a connection. It's almost like so your hands and your brain will be more coordinated and they're having a cooperation. So please, hands, listen to the brain. All right, so heavy stroke to thin stroke and using the tip of the marker. So those are the two things, although there's other strokes that you can practice, and you'll find that here in our bounce lettering worksheet or workbook. You're going to find it, how to hold your brush pen properly, and then some drills to practice your thin and thick down strokes. And of course, other strokes that you can practice to really help you get the hang of switching from your light to heavy or vice versa from your heavy to light, right? So you have this is overturn or kind of like a frown. And then you have your underturn, which is the heavy to light, which is a smiley. And then you have compound curves, which is almost like a letter N if you look at it. But all of that, you will find it in that workbook and you can practice. All right, so for today, we are going to focus on writing some words. And again, if you don't have the worksheet, it's okay. Just grab a copy paper and we are going to practice together. And this is what I'm going to do. So we have the words hello, thanks, blessed. So I'm going to switch that. Actually, I'm going to put it on my side of the table so I can look at it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write the word hello in the traditional style of calligraphy. Balanced lettering is all about, honestly, it's a style of hand lettering where you are encouraged to actually go beyond the rules of the traditional calligraphy. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to mimic that thin and thick lines, the old style calligraphy where they use the nibs, but they use the same techniques where they would apply heavy pressure to create the thicker strokes and they would apply light pressure to create the thin strokes. But instead of using the old nibs, the pen nibs, we're actually using a brush pen to create those thin and thick lines. So bounce lettering is just not going, it's basically breaking the rules. So what I'm going to do is on the left side, I'm going to write the words that we have in here, the hello, thanks, blessed, beautiful, creative, and joyful. I'll write it on the left side of the paper so you can see, and then we'll try to practice it using the bound style lettering. All right. So we'll start with the word hello. So in the world of calligraphy, there's so many different rules. You have to have, the perfect width, perfect height of each stroke of your letter. And also, I think it's important to understand and remember to remind ourselves that when we're doing some hand lettering, it is actually the art of drawing our letters. So handwriting and hand lettering are two different things. Okay. All right. So we'll start with the word hello. I'll start it on the left. Again, we want to have a consistent amount of a consistent weight and height. And then with bounce lettering, we're going to break that. I'm going to show you different styles of how you can write the word hello as well. So I'm going to start with H. Again, thinking in your mind, thick going down, thin going up, right? So heavy when you're writing towards you, and then go light when you're writing away from you. So light to heavy. with traditional calligraphy, I need to have the same height like this. And let me try and zoom in so you guys can see much better. All right, let's do that. So that means my E should be the same height over there. And then my L, when I stretch it, it should have the same height for my letter H as well. And the same with the letter O, like this. All right. So they're all similar in height and similar in the thickness of the weight of the stroke, which is my letter H seems like a little thicker than everything else. So you can always adjust that also, but you know what? Since we're just practicing, I just want to show you the difference. All right, now we're going to do the bounce lettering on the right side. Here we have it. Let's grab. So in that future class that I'm talking about, you're going to see the difference of different thickness of the brush nibs. There's also different sizes, so you can choose which one you like better because you know it's subjective. So if you're like I like to write very small or I like to write bigger, then there's many different brushes available for you. All right, so again, thinking in our mind that we need to break the rules when it comes to this. With bounce lettering, you can play around. It's basically like your letters are more bouncy, what's dancing, so you're not constricted to the same height and same length and same width of each stroke. It's all about just breaking the rules and really having fun, as long as it's legible. But that's something that's really important, as long as people are still going to be able to read what you're writing. All right, so letter H. So thick going down. I'll stop in there. Notice how this one writes much bigger, right? So this one is the Goldfaber Aqua dual markers. This one is the Pitt Artist pens. So notice how thicker the strokes are because this is a much larger brush nib. All right. So this one, since I'm writing a bounce lettering, I don't have to be constricted over here. Same, I can bring this up a little bit, my letter E. And this is, I'm going to show you how easily that the E can be read as a letter L also. So, but I'm going to do the right way first. I feel like. We're going to do this first and I'll show you again. So if you have the letter E too far way up, or even also this, having this here very thinly, it's easy. You can easily say, is that all letter L? So you want to make sure that even when you're playing with the height and the width of your letters, you want to make sure that you can easily tell one letter from the other. Does that make sense? So if I want to write this again differently, say hello. I think I want to keep it down here and not go way up, right? Like this. And so now, even if I'm playing with the width and the placement of each letter, you can still easily say that, yes, that is a letter E, all right? I think cursive is, this has been a debate online because every time I would write, when I'm doing my cute art lettering or handwriting, I would say, and then someone would say, no, cursive, that's cursive, that's print art. So basically, they're saying that when I'm doing my cute handwriting, but that's how I do my handwriting, someone would correct you and say, no, that's actually art printing or something like that. But I think the moment that you become aware of your writing, so even when we're doing a traditional writing with print, the moment that you take your time to write each letter, I feel like you're drawing already, because if I am writing, just writing, I'm not mindful of my letters. Does that make sense? I'm just writing. I'm not mindful of, oh, I want my letter H to be bigger than the letter E or all that. But the moment you become mindful of the characters of your letters, the width, the height, and all that, I feel like that's almost turned into art already. I feel like you're already drawing your letters. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. Okay, let's not go stray away from our topic because I have the tendency to do that. The next word is thanks. Let's do this. So on the left, I'm going to draw, and I want to do this view here so you can see the brush pen and how I'm using it for thick, right? Then switch to thin. See, this is already a bounce lettering. It's just my style so much. I have to correct myself. Even that. It just comes so natural to me to go do the bounce lettering. This is actually bounce lettering already here. Because notice how this one is stretched out here. Let's see the board. So this one can be considered bounce lettering already. So it should be balance in height and all that. So let's try that again in a more traditional way. So we have to have the same height here. Now, some people would prefer to see this way, you know, just a clean, simple look. Now there are people like me and that kind of like just naturally goes doing the opposite. So let's do the things in a more balanced lettering style. See, notice how the letter H is already much bigger and higher. The A is much smaller. I think it just feels more free flowing. There we go. So we have thanks. I'm going to do that in slow motion and in a different brush so you guys can see. And slower, right? So we do the word thanks. Let's start with the letter T. So this is all about heavy pressure, right? Then we slowly go up using the tip of the pen like this. We stop right over there. And we're going to do the crossbar for the letter H. Now, to make this simple, so it's not super hard, we can do the letter H just like this. And go up, pause. I feel like when I'm doing everything slower, I feel like my lines are more jaggedy. I'm not sure if you're the same way, just because light pressure feels so unnatural to me. Now, when I'm writing heavy or when I'm doing my downstroke, that feels natural. It's almost like I don't even have to try. But the moment that I have to switch from the heavy to the light, and if I do it slow, I feel like it's more jaggedy. My lines are more like very inconsistent. So maybe if you're experiencing the same thing, maybe you want to try maybe writing a bit faster, not too fast where you don't have enough control, but just, you know, a little faster than how you are normally doing it. Maybe it will help. Just, I thought it, you know, point it out there. Right now, heavy again, and then go light, then heavy again, light and heavy. Right, I'll stop there. And to keep things simple, we're going to do the loop. There's actually a term for that loop. This is called your descending loop. So kind of like what we did with the letter H. for this time we're going to do a letter K, but that's the very basic simple loop. Now we go up in here, create a small loop for the letter K, and use the tip to go up and connect to the letter S, and then apply some pressure for the belly of the S and the tip again to go up. And then every time you would write horizontal for your crossbars, it should be thin stroke or light pressure as well. So we can do kind of like a slanted, almost like that for the letter T, just to connect both. All right. I'm going to go grab a purple color this time. Now we have the word blessed. Another tip that I'd like to share with you is that when you are just getting started with brush lettering, it can be a little overwhelming. What worked for me and what I did in the past was I chose words that I love. And these are the sample words that I did. I wrote these words, practiced these words over and over and over again, like the next word that we're going to do, the word blessed. I practiced this over and over again. The word love, I practiced it over and over again. So instead of trying to do the whole alphabet at one time, I practiced with a word that I don't mind seeing in my journal or my sketchbook a whole lot. And then I could see the process and the progress at the same time. You see, like, oh, wow, look at me. I am, doing the thin and thick much better, or the thick to thin much better. So another pro tip, which is a pro tip. This is a tip from a friend. Okay, the word blessed. Let's write it very simple. I'm going to go change our view just so we can see this on the side. The word blessed. And we're going to write it very simple first, okay? So doing again, the descending loop where you have kind of like a letter L. And almost, this is just your basic oval stroke, honestly. Or we're going to add a connecting stroke here for the letter L. And then if you want to do the descending loop again, just like that. And letter E. So when you're trying to connect a letter to the next, you want to be mindful of how long you're going to stretch the extra strokes of each letter, right? So for example, here we're setting it up for the next letter. From the letter L, what we did was here, we stretch this out. This is our connecting stroke right here. Place it where you're going to have just equal spacing, right? Because this is, we're doing the traditional, almost like mimicking the old calligraphy look. So we have a balanced height, and also the distance in between each letter is also balanced. But see how I've extended this letter E, because I know I'm going to create a letter S next. So you're kind of like prepping your extension, your extra chords, connecting, not chords, you're connecting strokes. So overstretch it and place it for your next letter. So prep for that. So I know it's going to be a letter S. I'm going to stretch this one. And this one too, we have another letter S coming up. So instead of this going down, I'm going to bring this up so I can connect my other letter S, right? So this time I'm going to go right just in the middle, because we're going to do a letter E next time. So from here, where my stroke ended, I'm going to start from there to create my letter E, and then stretch this up again because we're going to create a letter D. And then an oval shape, just like that. And then another, yes, descending loop again. So once you practice over and over and over again, you're going to realize that all these basic strokes is what your letters are composed of. So To do the letter D, we did the oval and add a descending loop. I mean, ascending. I keep switching that. So to make a letter D, I'm going to show you, you make an oval and ascending loop like that. To create a letter G, you create an oval shape. This time is your descending loop, just like that. So basic strokes over and over again. So for the letter B, we're going to create an ascending loop going down. And then, yes, we're going to create an oval. So yeah, the basic strokes is what you're going to need to compose your letter. And once you have mastered that, then your basic letters are what you're going to need to compose your words, right? And then the words turn into sentences, into quotes, into beautiful letters and all that. So I always remind, my students to just take it one stroke at a time. So it really does make a whole lot of difference when you see your letters as just basic strokes. And then you start to play around with your letters or your strokes to make your letters much more pretty. So for example, using the two basic strokes for the letter G, an oval, right? But instead of starting here, look, I just kind of overstretched this loop right here. So maybe you can make it much larger, just like that. So instead of a regular descending, I made my loop much, much larger down here. And I think that's what is your next step when you're doing. I think it's important to start with the basic style also, then practice the bounce lettering, because I personally just love playing around with my strokes and my loops and all that. And I think that's what it's what's going to help you add characters to your letters. And in the end, it's going to make it very unique to just you, so that when people see it, that, oh wow, that is yours. For example, with mine, if they see my letter G like that, they already know that Mommy Lay has written that, because although I don't know, it's just for some reason it leaves a mark. And so that's what you're doing, is that you're going to add character and create your own unique mark to each of your letters. So have fun doing that. Enjoy the process, because that's what we're doing here, is we're having fun and we're enjoying the process. We're not, it's not really the destination. I know it sounds cheesy, but it really is. It's all about the journey, the process of how you got there. And so don't worry, because I'm here to help you with that. Okay, so let's write the word blessed as a bounce lettering. So we did the very nice, precise, very balanced height and weight and distance from each letter. Now we're going to do it with a little bit more possess. So we'll do a bounce lettering style. All right. So we'll start with the letter B. And notice how we're going to add a little bit of extra flourishes like this. Nothing fancy, but just a little bit more simple. Our strokes in the end will be a little bit more extra, but you got this. So we'll do it one letter at a time. For the letter B, okay, let's practice it. I'm going to go up in here so I can show you. So I'm going to start from here, stretch it out here, and go down. So it's almost like you're writing a letter L, right? Does it look like a letter L also? So from here to the left, you stretch it out, and then you apply a little bit of pressure going down, just like that. Veronica asking, okay, did you started drawing a line to write over them at the beginning? No, I didn't. It's just sometimes it's hard. I know it's really hard to start with a blank page, because you can go from here going up or sideways, or going down. So I think what's going to help is that if you have like a grid paper, maybe you can put it underneath your marker paper, since this one is very translucent. Another good paper to practice with are tracing paper because they're super smooth, the tracing papers. So it's really good for your brush pens. Another one is called vellum paper. That one is super smooth as well. It's almost kind of like this, where it's like semi-translucent vellum, but they can get a little pricey. So just to let you know. All right, okay. Oh, thank you so much, Lou. I truly appreciate that. So now we've practiced that. We start with the letter B, okay? So again, I'll show you from here, almost just like writing a letter L. So here, this is how I write my letter L too. Because this is our grand entrance, for the letter B. So we have this like extra loop in here. But what we're doing, honestly, is just an ascending loop, but we just added this extra right here. So instead of just this, we just added an extra part right here. But mine is just coming from here to go up. So those are the little things that you're going to notice, is that some people will like it where their loop will start like this. And I think it's just personal preference. So which one do you like better, this look right here or this look right here? It's almost like a swoop instead of a scoop. Nothing, that didn't make sense. All right, so let's do the letter B. Okay, now the oval. What I'm going to play with this time around is this loop right here. Right here. This one is what I'm going to play with. I'm going to make it where it's slightly bigger than a traditional letter B right here. So let me do it first so you guys can see. But all I'm doing is I'm doing an oval shape first, but I'm overextending this one right here in the middle. And I'm going to stretch it over right here. All right. So I'll show you. Just like that. So instead of just enclosed and tight, it feels more free. It feels more like more free. I don't know what else to explain it, how to explain it. All right, so for the letter L, we can do it like this way or this way. So you choose. We can do it this way or this way. I think when it's in the middle of a word, for example, it's not an entrance letter. So the letter L this time is in the middle. I don't think I do a lot of this stroke right here. So since we're in the middle, I think I'm going to do a regular ascending loop, but it's more scooped like what I showed you earlier. Just like that. And then letter E. Again, be mindful of your connecting strokes, right? Place it where you're going to draw your next letter. So letter S, like that. I think I have a very tight space over here, but it's okay. We'll make it work. And then letter E. And then letter D. Okay, for this time, I'm just going to do an oval, just like that. Then I'll show you what we did over here for letter B is what I'm going to do for the letter D. So I'm going to stretch out from here like this. Now, again, I have limited space and area, so we're just going to pretend I did the loop there. And just like that. So I want to write down here so you guys can see a much better look. I'll write it again. See these connecting strokes? Placing it where the next stroke is going to be. Just like that. See, one is just as pretty as the other. It's just different, but I think they're both very beautiful. Oh, Emmanuel is having some issue with the audio. Is everybody else having an issue with the audio? All right, Nicole, maybe you can help.
Hi, Leigh. I'm trying to troubleshoot that right now.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, next letter, next word, we have beautiful. All right, this time it's a little tricky because it's a longer word. So, yeah. So we're going to write it as a traditional first. Um, Now, I think that was a very good question about the ruler earlier. If you are just getting started, maybe using a pencil to kind of just line it or using a lined notebook, I think it might help also if you are more into the traditional where everything is kind of like balanced, and equal. I think using a lined paper will help. I personally, it's not my favorite. I love plain or a dot grid. I really love dot grid because I feel like the dots are so tiny that it's not really there, but it really does help you with your guides as a guide, for your letters and drawings or doodles. All right, so let's letter the word beautiful. I'm going to letter it traditional on top. Okay, so I'm going to go as slow as I can. Okay. Fix, lay traditional, calm down. And I'm writing the word bless because I have written it so much. Just going to finish it. Right, let's write the word beautiful this time. It's like it's almost impossible for me to write it in a traditional way because the bounce lettering became my go-to. You guys know when I'm doing lettering, I feel so in the moment. Um, it doesn't matter whether I'm teaching or making a video for social media or I'm just practicing. It's like when I'm doing art, art really gives me that in the present moment, where every stroke matters. I see everything. So I feel so present when I'm doing art. So I'm just going to do just like that to make it simple and beautiful. Now, if I'm going to write this in a bounce lettering way, this is how we're going to do it. Here we go. So again, remember that swoop that I did for the letter B, because this is a first letter. So I want to be a bit fancy. All right. And again, I'll stretch it out there. See, this is perfectly prepped for my next letter, which is letter E. Prepping that connecting stroke for the letter A. Right. This one. And this time, what I'm going to do for my crossbar to connect the letter T and the letter F, it's almost going to be like how we did the entrance stroke here of the letter B. But instead of going down here, we go right in the middle and we're just going to stretch it out over here and then slowly prepped to do our letter F, right? Does that make sense? So slowly, again, not going all the way down, but just perfectly in the middle. We're just going to go right there, slowly. Then we're going to prep it up to do that swoop for the letter F, and then we add this right there. See, when I'm doing slow, I feel like I mess things up. It's okay. All right, letter U, like this. I sure did miss the letter U. Oh my God. Let's do it again. That's not good. All right. Give me another chance. So letter B. Letter B. B-A-U. Goodness. B-A-U-T-ful. There we go. I think that's sometimes what happens when you're like going really slow. You're like, all right, B-A-A-U. Now letter T. All right. I. Now again, we're going to do this. I think I'm going to do this much better. Yeah. Letter U. I'll stretch this down a little bit. And the same. Like that. Beautiful. That's so pretty. Super pretty. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so glad audio is fixed. Lakita said, haha, I'm glad somebody else does that like me. You are not alone, my friend. You are not alone. All right. Okay. Next word. Oh, we are limited in time. Oh, why? You cannot limit creativity in an hour. Right. The next word we have is creative because we are all creative people here. Now, with the letter C, I wanted to hold on. I wanted to do this example right here because this is one thing that is a common mistake that I personally find myself doing a lot. Just because with letter C, when I try to be fancy and all that, I'll show you a mistake so you can avoid it, you know? So I try to do the swoop like this for my letter C. And what happens is that it turns, sometimes it ends up looking like a letter E. So I want you to be mindful of that because I try to do this. I want to show you to create my letter C. And sometimes what ends up is that it's looking like a letter E. And also sometimes I make this one much larger as well. So just watch out and be aware of that. So what I do is I kind of do the letter C first, and then I added this loop. So I'll show you here. So I start with this letter, this short, tiny stroke. It's kind of like my base for this. And then I go up and then do that. And then if I want to add some fancy loop, I would do this. And then I would just connect it, you know? So hi, Patricia. It's okay, dear. It's okay if you're late. You want to make sure you just watch the replay. So sometimes I would just normally would do my letter C this way, not to be so fancy. How I would add some loop with the letter C, this is what I want to show you. So from here, right, I am going to bring this up a little bit and like this. So if you make this too big, this is what's going to happen. So if you just want to do small and go like this, so you can create a loop over here and bring this up. So I don't know if it's still looking like a letter E. Sometimes it does. So I'm super careful with letter C. So maybe if you have to go farther away from this instead of the middle, when you go right up in the middle, it doesn't look as good. So you go your C and just like that. Or we can do again a letter C this way and just add our swoop right here. You know, so play around with that, okay? But I just wanted to point that out. All right, so let's write the word creative. Here we go. So C, keeping in mind that this is the basic, pretty, I should not call that basic because I might get some heat. Creative. Now, when you're going to connect your letter V right here, like this, right? And then you add a connecting stroke for your letter E next, right? Okay. And dot, and then your crossbar. Creative. Now, if you want to write that in a balanced lettering way, we can play around with the height of our letters. So we do the letter C. Like that. I'm sorry, green is a little too hard to see. But instead of having the same height with my letter C, I'm doing this much smaller. And notice that my swoop goes down a little bit more. And I'm going to make this letter E much smaller also. But it doesn't change the fact that you have to prep your connecting stroke for the next letter. Okay. I know I kind of like sound like a broken record sometimes, but it's really important to take note of those little things. This letter T, I'm going to prep it up for the I. I. This one I'm prepping up for the letter V. Like this. Okay, and I'll stop in there too. And then add another stroke for the letter E. And I'll go really high up there. And the way with the crossbar, I'm going to kind of like this where it's more wavy and go up. I'm going to change the color of my marker because that green is a little too hard to see. Why is my C looking like a G? Again, yeah, that's true. Because if you make the loop a little too low right here, that's a problem too with the letter C. If you make it super down there, see how it can end up, my colors I'm using are very light. So if you make your loop right here super down where they're almost going to touch each other, you can end up looking like letter G because that's how I do my letter G. So make sure that you have enough to say that this is a letter C, but not enough loop to make it down here was almost like a letter G or almost like a letter E also. So that's why it's important that we practice so we can see those little things, because the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you're going to take notice of how you are writing one letter. So you're like, oh, wow, I noticed that I'm doing this and it's kind of looking like ending up like a letter, another letter. So just being more mindful and being more aware of what you're doing, then it's going to help you tremendously. All right, our last word is joyful. So we'll write it very pretty, traditional way. Letter Y, same loop as letter J, letter F, like this. And then you add your connecting stroke for the letter U, letter U. You bring this down, set it up for the letter L, and ascending loop, just like that. Joyful. All right. Now we're going to write it. If you want a capital letter J, like this. Wow, that is big, Lay. So, like that. Super pretty. my oldest daughter's name is Jazzle. So I practice. Letter Z is not my favorite letter, but I have to make it my favorite letter because my son's name is Zion. So he has a letter ZY. So Z and Y connecting. So it's kind of tricky. So that's another thing. Maybe you want to practice with your name over and over instead of a word, or your children's name, or, your parents' name. So, all right. So let's write the word joyful in a bounce lettering style. Thank you so much, Mary. Yes. Oh my gosh, time flies. So letter J again with that same signature swoop, right? With the letter B. Sorry. Just like that. Let's do that again. Let's bring it down. So the same swoop that we did with the letter B, same thing with my letter J. Now, this is one thing that when I was practicing this, I think it was yesterday, and I noticed how this swoop was too close to my main one, that it's ending up almost looking like a small letter S, right? Do you see that? So we want to make sure to avoid that you want to stretch your swoop right over here. So it's not going to look like a small letter S. So I'm going to try it again here, swoop it right on top. We want to make sure that it's right on top. And then here. And then right there. I have 3 beautiful kids. So I have 2 girls and 1 boy. So I have Jazzle, Jazzle and then Zion Reese. And my youngest is Rain Bella. 22, 16, and 13. Time flies. All right. Letter Y. Prepping it up here. Now we're going to do the swoop again. But for the letter F, I'm going to come
Hey,
in.
Lay,
Yes, ma'am.
really quick question for you.
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
have any suggestions for people who are left-handed when approaching these?
Absolutely. Yeah, we get that a lot, and unfortunately, I am not a lefty, but I did try to practice writing with my left. And I think some of you guys here have seen that attempt, and that was really embarrassing. But I have noticed, and if there's any lefties in here that are, can share a little bit of guidance when it comes to doing your letters and how you're being able to create your thin and your thick line? Is there a much easier trick? Because I always just say that the principle is the same. It's the same principle that when you go up, you go light on your pressure, and when you go down, you go heavy on your pressure. So it's just that you're going the opposite way. So for example, I'm going to do my letter J and my swoop, right? I would tilt probably my paper to the right instead of my left. Maybe that's one thing to start with, but you're coming in from the top. See, I have no idea. But if I'm going to write it like how I would be writing, how I am doing it on my right, I would just go way up. Well, that is just, yeah, that's not a good start. Let's do that again. So I would do my swoop right here, but still thin. And then I'd still apply heavy pressure going down. And then I would still go light. So my pen is going on top. Notice how my hand is here. Wow, that's a little tough. So maybe if you're a lefty, because I'm here, so I go down a lot. To create the thin line, you're going to have to go way up in here to really use the thin or the tip of your brush pen. So I want to try that again because that was really interesting. Let's try that. So I'll try the swoop. Yeah, so my hands are really way up in here. And then I'm going to try and do the. So, yep, I go really up in here for that. This is me pretending that I know how to write with my left. And then we do the oval, same thing. Thick and then thin going up. That's actually look like a letter O. This is good. Good job, Lay. Yeah, so basically it's the same. you go very light going up, your upstroke, and still heavy going down. What's going to change is, I think, the hand positioning. It's because I am noticing that my hands are way up in here to be able to really use the tip of my brush to create the thin lines. So that's one thing I have noticed right away. Let's do the letter Y. Okay, this is much, much harder. Again, the heavy is easy on me, but the like this. So another tip that I'd like to share is that you might have to lift your hand from your desk at some point to really create that thin stroke. So if even if I'm going up here already, but I'm lifting my hand as I'm writing. So that's even more difficult for you because when I'm writing on my right, my hand over here is really almost stationary, unless, of course, I am moving to my right to continue my word. But with you, or unless this is just me trying, because I'm obviously trying harder because I don't naturally write with my left. So I feel like to get the technique that I was able to get here, to get that thick and the thin, I was really moving my hand way up on the top to be able to use the tip as I go lift my hand a little bit from that desk to be able to use the tip. So I hope that helps. But I doubt it almost that it was helpful in any way. But I figured it's still a good thing to take notice of the things that I've mentioned because maybe that will help. Maybe it won't, but I tried. All right. So now the letter U. Do that stroke again. And then here, and then we go do that little swoop thing again. And then go up. Yeah, Anita, we really have to practice using the calligraphy pen because Faber-Castell has some calligraphy pen also that uses a flat tip. And I really have been practicing a whole lot with that. Let me practice a bit more because I want to make sure that I can really teach it, in a way that is easy to get and pick up. But I think when it comes to anything with art, whether it's lettering or drawing, practice is really, really important. But to me, it is important to find the easiest approach to things so that you guys will easily get it also, because sometimes when you use big words and big terms, you're just making something um already overwhelming, even more overwhelming just by using big words. So it's like just finding the easy tips and suggestion is what I'm aiming for. So just watch out for that. We'll definitely create using that. But anyways, yeah, we created a lot of words in here today. Some beautiful words. And if you didn't get a chance to download the worksheet, I believe that I'm not sure if we were able to say to send that today, but if you had some issues with the worksheet, you can find me on social media at Mommy Lay, and I'll be able to assist you with that. Maybe I still have the sheets and I can help you with the links. Okay. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for being here today. I really do appreciate all of you so much because it really does make a whole lot of difference when we're doing this live instead of, we don't have an audience and I'm just talking to myself. It's a little sad. So, thank you for being here. So, I appreciate you. And as always, I know these type of classes, lettering especially, it's a little tricky, but with a lot of practice and a lot of dedication from you, enjoy that progress and the process. Okay, so take it easy on yourself, be kind, stay creative, and stay happy. Thank you all so much. Until next time, bye everyone.